Good afternoon, everyone. Today we are going to deal with the last topic for unit number 1, dynamics of communication. It is actually the importance of interpersonal communication in today's organization, along with the importance of intercultural communication in today's organization. I hope you have made sure who is giving the opening remarks today. So, can we have the opening remarks? Can we have the opening remarks? Right, so I'll give an introduction to what is uh, today's session all about. Today's session is all about skills that you need to develop. We have been learning language and we know a few languages, that is your mother tongue and English and a few more, right? But here we're not talking about language, we are talking about a skill that we need to develop. By a skill, I mean that you already know things, you know how things are working, but you upgrade yourself in terms of polishing, in terms of becoming better. And so the two things that we need to learn in today's dynamic world is one, interpersonal communication, and two is intercultural communication. So we are not machines that we can work on our own. Even if we are setting up our own startups or our own businesses, will require people around us. Not do we just require people around us, but we need to be in constant contact and touch with the people. Maybe you want to give an instruction, maybe you want to say that you did very good, you want to appreciate somebody, you need to communicate. There are different ways in which you can talk according to the purpose. Let's say somebody's idea that somebody gave failed. So you cannot just tell them, oh, it's very bad, your idea failed. You have to tell it in a very nice way that, you worked really hard, but sometimes things don't work out. Why don't we relook into your idea, etc. Right? When you're working in an organization, they are not your friends. People would be your colleagues. Colleagues are people who work with you, right? So you cannot have friends all the time, you need to have colleagues. This few friends that you have at your workplace would be people who would give you honest feedback. I hope you remember we talking about feedback in the unit 1, topic 1, process of communication. Without feedback, it is incomplete, right? So you need to have trustworthy people with whom you can share your secrets, and you are sure that your secrets will never get leaked out. You must also have people who would give you honest feedbacks so that you can improve. See, feedback should be for the purpose of improvement. We can sit together, we can brainstorm and reach better ideas. So one person giving one idea is not as good as 3 4 people sitting and having 3 4 ideas to pick and choose from. nowadays we need different perspectives to look at the same problem, and this can happen only when we collaborate. Collaboration with people and cooperation with people is what is required, so that you can work better. The chances of success are more, the chances of failure are less comparatively, right? So a platform where you require people to trust you with their ideas, and you also trust the opposite people with their own ideas. Here there is a word called brainstorm. Brainstorming means it's a technique where you don't go into the deeper problems, but you first jot down the possible solutions of a given problem. Then you will sit and further discuss whether solution A will work or solution B will work. That's what brainstorming means. Now, we not only need people who can help us, guide us, or be friends with us, but we also require people who become our mentors. Now, who are mentors? Mentors are people whom we look up to. It is somebody who we desire to become. Look at him or look at her. In any difficult situation, that person is so cool, so calm, so patient, right? So you need to look up to people who can help you grow. So you need to find mentors in your workplace. Why? Because in times of our crisis, sometimes consecutively one or two ideas fail, we are not good at one or two projects that we did. There may be different reasons to it, but we need somebody to be there to support us, to honestly tell us where we have made mistakes, where we can improvise, and what we can improvise. So we need our colleagues or people who work with us to be our mentors. Why mentors? So that we grow. We know that a river that flows, it's like a growth that you have. So the river with flows is quite clean, but a puddle, a water puddle which is stagnant, right? It will not be that clean comparatively, right? So, and it stops at a point of time. A river will flow on, right? So we need people who help us grow as individuals, who also help us grow in terms of making progress in our organizations as well. It's good to be appreciated, right? When you do something good, when even it's the smallest of the thing and the teacher says very well done, you were absolutely correct, you feel appreciated. So when employees feel appreciated, they'll work with double their energies, they'll work with double the enthusiasm. So we need to help people to work, and if we don't have friends or colleagues with whom we are friendly, then we will be overburdened. See, not everybody is not an expert in each and every field. Everybody has an expertise of one or two fields. Let's say even if I'm a computer engineer, I have an expert area or my area of expertise, right? So computer engineering would include many things, but I expertise in one or two. So I cannot alone handle each and everything. What I need is I need experts from different fields to come together and to collaborate. Now, if I'm the only one working, what will happen is I'll be overburdened and I'll not never be able to finish my tasks within the deadlines which are given to me. So the support of fellow workers is important, because an individual who will work alone will be overburdened and would never be able to finish his or her tasks within the given deadline. In the institute, everybody's role is decided and delegated as per their specialization or as per their expertise in that particular topic, right? So you need people to complete and do your work on time and for better results. As I said, collaborative works. So I think of only one or two solutions to a problem. If there are 5 people, I can get 10 more solutions, so 10 different perspectives. I'm sorry, just a minute. Right, so we have a question over here. It's a statement which says a true or false. One needs to have people at the workplace who are more like mentors than mere colleagues. So you can type your answer in the chat box. What do you think? Is the statement true or false? Very good. I've got 4 or 5 answers, and you are absolutely correct. You need uh, people who are mentors who help you grow along with the growth of the organization. Right? Just a minute, please. A few of the interpersonal skills that we need to develop. One of them is communication skills. Communicating better. You can note down, these are not limited to, but I'm discussing the few important ones. The first important skill that we need to develop, interpersonal skill that we need to develop, is a communication skills. By communication skills, I mean written skills as well as uh, verbal skills. So how to speak better, how to write better so that people understand your message properly. The next skill, as an interpersonal skill that you need to develop, is the skill of having manners and etiquettes, proper manners, proper etiquettes, and proper courtesy. So how do you talk properly, wish people properly, etc. The next skill that we need to have is flexibility or adaptability. You should be flexible enough to understand somebody's ideas. You should be flexible enough to and open enough to take a new approach towards things. The next skill that we need to have would be professional behavior. How do you behave professionally? Let's say I and my friend are working in the same organization. We're very good friends, but I cannot be friends in my office. I need to be professional. When I have to tell him or her something, I have to instruct him or her. I cannot tell it because he's my friend, it is okay, I will not tell him. I have to be professional there, right? Next, you have to collaborate and cooperate. You cannot not grow alone. You need to work on things together. You need to find out ideas together. And last and very important is being ethical. You should follow certain rules, certain principles, and you should adhere to them. That is, for person A, the rule is different, and for person B, the rule is different, then there is a problem. That is one skill that we need to develop. So the next topic that we have is developing intercultural skills. Now, why intercultural skills is what we are talking about. As I said, we are not going to we're not going to just stay in our country or our state or our city. We will be expanding. Even though our offices are here in the same city, we might want to do business with somebody abroad. So how do we do that? We need to know and understand a person's culture. It actually plays an important role and also affects the final output. It also would affect the person's growth and the organization's growth. Because we need to adapt. We never know, we some of our parents have been government employees, so government has this tendency of shifting people after a few years. So some of us has have experienced the same. That is altogether new place, new school, starting all over again. So culture plays an important role, and it helps people to adapt. Now, if you take adaptation is not a new concept to us human beings. Why? If you remember, Darwin had said the survival of the fittest. The one who could adapt the fastest would survive. Right. So same rule goes in the case of intercultural communication as well. It actually we need to understand the culture. Why? Because let's say every culture has its own way of greeting each other. Let's say Indian culture is a way different from somebody uh, who's born in the United States. How they greet and how we greet, right? Not only taking the example of India, we can even take the example of uh, United States and UK. That's London, Great Britain, right? Even they have different ways of greeting. Their culture, though it looks similar from far, but when you closely view, there are quite differences, huge differences, and people have adapted to it. It's like adapting to speaking a language, right? How do you behave with superiors? Now, see, our language, our behavior will always be affected by the culture in which we are brought up, the environment which we are brought up, right? The formal and informal ways of behaving would affect our behavior. The culture that we are brought up in would affect our behavior. Let's say in certain organizations in the Western world, you can call your boss by the first name, right? You can call him whatever name it is. However, in countries like India, somebody who is superior to us will call the person sir or ma'am. Let's say when we talk about the HODs of different departments, we say HOD sir, right? In Western world, they can call them by their names. Now, when you are supposed to work in a country other than your own, you are actually exposed to these changes. And when you are exposed to such changes, you experience a shock, a cultural shock. That's what we call it. Culture shock is defined as the anxiety and disorientation experienced when a person is made to operate in an unknown culture. Uh, why a shock? Because you have never seen things happening in that particular way. So initially, you are not ready to accept, and that's why there is initial anxiety and disorientation that is experienced. We'll first see a video. It's called the cultural iceberg. Before we move to the cultural shock and all, I'll play the video for you. So that's the cultural iceberg that we talked about. Now we have a question that the beliefs in the cultural iceberg are found on the surface. You can type your answer in the chat box. So, do you feel that the statement is true or false? Very good, Priyanka. Such a prompt reply. Yes, I'm waiting for others to reply. We've got a mixture of answers over here. Some are saying that the statement is true, others are saying that the statement is false, but I'll reveal the answer to you. Statement is false, because belief, you cannot see everybody's belief. Every culture's belief is not what you see. What do we see? When we meet a person, we see how he or she speaks, how he or she sits and stands and walks, how he or she greets others, and how he or she eats food. Belief, how will I get a person's belief? When I get to know the person more better, right? There are different cultural beliefs. Let's say some of us in India believe that we should not start any new work on Wednesday. When you start it on Wednesday, you might have to do it again. That's a belief. Can I know it from the surface, just by looking at a person? Can I know he also has the same belief? No. For that, I have to understand their culture better. That is why the statement is false. So with this, we have completed our unit number 1. The topics were interpersonal and intercultural skills that we need to develop, and its importance. Why do we need to develop such skills? Because human beings cannot work alone. We need to collaborate to work, and to work better, we need to have skills, so that we can work with cooperation, flexibility, and adaptability. Moreover, we are now things are not limited to a particular street, city, country, or state. It has now been globalized. Let's say you might also have a few friends, or maybe few students in your class who have come as a student exchange program, or have gained a scholarship and are studying with you in the same class. So that's intercultural communication. Sometimes you don't know the language, other times they might not know what you are saying, but trying to adapt to each other by gradually picking up common words that you use, right? Let's say even if you want to go for a master's degree in a few countries, English is there, no doubt. English is there as a language for you to communicate and survive. But certain countries do insist on you learning their language. Let's take Germany, for example. They want you to learn German. Another very vibrant language that people want you to learn if you wish to pursue your education in foreign universities is French, right? So these are a few languages. I'm not saying it is restricted to these two. These are two examples that I'm giving. It's not limited to the two, but it's an ever expanding list, right? So let's say you want to pursue your degree in Norway. So Norwegian is the language that they speak, and it is compulsory for you to learn the language, right? English will help you survive, but the language that is spoken in the country, the national language of that country, is what will help you succeed. That is why it is important to have good hold over intercultural and interpersonal skills, so that you not only grow as an individual, but you also grow help in the growth of the organization. Do we have any doubts and queries? If not, then we always have a ritual of having a quiz. Do we have any doubts and queries? And I can see a no for the doubt in the query part. So now I'll paste the link for your quiz. You can start attempting your quiz for today. I hope you can access the quiz. So please remember, this quiz is an integral part of your marking scheme. You'll be given marks for the quiz. So I am giving you 5 to 7 minutes of time to attempt your quiz. Uh, Good to see 3 of you have already attempted your quiz and you have submitted your replies. Very good to see that 14 of you have already submitted your quiz. In case you are facing any technical issue, the quiz is open till 2:30. So do not worry. I'll give you half an hour more after the class to complete that quiz. Right? If you are facing any technical issues right at the moment, you still have more time after the class as well. So now we have the attendance. So just call out your enrollment numbers. You can just type a yes and no. So the first number is 18 series 14. We're taking the attendance. 18 series 14. 19 series 1. 2.
Yes, ma'am.
3.
Yes, ma'am.
4.
Yes, ma'am.
5. Enrollment number 5, Viraj. 6. 7. Enrollment number 7,
Yes, ma'am.
Pratap.
Yes, ma'am.
Enrollment number
5,
8.
madam.
5 is present. Okay, just a minute.
Yes.
Enrollment number 8, Abhinav was present. Okay, I got it. 9. Anish. 10.
Present, ma'am.
11.
Yes, ma'am.
12. 'Bhavik. Okay, I can see you are present. 13.
Yes, ma'am.
14.
Yes, ma'am.
15.
Yes, ma'am.
16.
Present.
17.
Yes, ma'am.
18.
Yes, ma'am.
19. 19. 21.
Yes, ma'am.
22.
Yes, ma'am.
23. I'll just call out the absent numbers. In case you have missed your number when I called out the roll call, you can always tell me right away. So enrollment number 18 series, enrollment number 14, Dharmesh. 19 series 1, Jaideep. 19 series 9, Anish. 19 series enrollment number 19, Mohammed Arif. And 19 series enrollment number 23, Jaideep. And so these are the absent numbers for today. Now you are aware that we have completed unit number 1. So on Thursday when we meet, you have a unit test. The details of the test will be told to you in the lecture itself. We are going to have a unit test, unit number 1. You can check the e-content of the login portal for of the university for the materials. All the PPTs that have been used will be uploaded in the e-content. Some of them have been uploaded. What we have done today, I'll be uploading it by the end of the day. So you can refer to it and be prepared to attempt the test that we have. It will be bigger in size, in the number of questions would be more. Fine. In case you have any doubts and queries, you can always drop down a message and I'll be happy to help you with your query. Fine. So please refer to the e-content. Also refer to whatever important points I've asked you to note down during the classes and the sessions. So that you can be well prepared for the test. It's a test and the marks of the test will be considered in your continuous semester evaluation. Will be giving you certain marks for it. Fine. Thank you so much, class. Have a nice day.